I want to introduce St. Andrews International School Bangkok. Where do we have here? Okay. St. Andrews International School Bangkok is one of 73 schools in the Nord Anglia Education family. They offer a British educational curriculum with an international perspective that begins in nursery and leads up to the IGCSE examinations in year 11. And then it culminates, as you just heard, in the International Baccalaureate Diploma after completing year 13. They're an inclusive school that invites children from all backgrounds and abilities to participate in the educational offerings in their diverse campuses. And I will be bringing on the stage Bartek with me right here in just a second. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey there. Hi. Nice to see you again, Stephen.
Nice to see you as well. I apologize that we're running about 10, almost 15 minutes late at this stage, but you know what? Questions are good, and we're getting lots of questions answered today. As I have offered to all of the other representatives from the other schools out there, I just sort of gave the standard blurb for St. Andrews, but is there anything that you'd like to put on the table before we get started with questions about St. Andrews that makes it stand out, or something that as you're walking people around campus that you're like, this is the thing?
Well, first I'd like to thank my colleague Will, who I thought did a really nice job in explaining some of the benefits of the IB, which I'm sure will be some of the questions will be based around that, and also to let you know, obviously our video will be around the IB as well. So hopefully that will go a long way in answering questions. That always is the biggest source of questions. It's something that parents don't really think about until their children are getting into the middle school, high school age, where they maybe we don't know any of that terminology because it's not what we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell you, just a very quick blurb. I thought the summary that you gave is really nice. We are now one of 76 schools, actually. So just recently,
I could update my information. Sorry.
Yeah. So the school itself, our main campus. I should clarify because there's other St. Andrews schools as well in Bangkok. The school I'm speaking about today is located on Sukhumvit 71, is our primary school campus and is our original campus. Started in 1997, and then we were able to start at our high school location, which is pictured behind me, right next to Ekamai Gateway, next to the Gateway Mall, which I'm sure those of you who are in Bangkok are very familiar, probably would have seen it going by on the SkyTrain or driving by in a taxi. So that's to be clear, that's the school that we're representing here. And I think a lot of the things that we'll talk about today, I'll have a chance to get into more detail about the school.
Okay, excellent. So let me start you off with it. We have a couple of questions in the chat right now. Two from Anna Frummerman, who I hope I'm not butchering her family name too much, revolve around the IB diploma, and they may be better suited for your colleague there, but let's just see where we go. She said, what if students don't qualify for the diploma? What are there other learning pathways that they can go? Or, this is a question I've never asked. Like, what happens if you get into that IB diploma, sort of stage in your learning career and it's not the right choice? You're going to find that, you're not going to qualify, you won't pass. Like, what happens there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting question. It's one we don't always consider as parents, but obviously it is something that could be something that we're faced with. Where maybe the IB is not for everyone, but the child's already been in a school for quite a long time, and really something at the heart of the school is why I'm also a parent here as well. And one of the reasons I came here, I quite like the approach that we have at St. Andrews, which is we really want to challenge every student to attempt the IB, and that's the goal for all of our students. But in some cases, the IB may not be the best solution, and so we don't at that point ask students to withdraw from the school or withdraw from the program. We look for alternative pathways, and so oftentimes that might include a combination of some IB courses along with maybe some more BTech, which is a more vocational hands-on program, where they still have an accredited finish to their high school, or maybe it's more of just purely kind of a accredited high school graduation. which also they, for any of these pathways, they can go on and move forward at universities around the world. And it's really, even for us, for those students who are, on the borderline where, it is quite a challenging program, and we know that passing the IB may be a challenge for them. We really want them to attempt it, and when they do pass it, we're, some of us incredibly proud of them for being able to finish the program, rather than being worried about let's say our average score or something like that. That's something that as a school we're less worried about the average score, even though we've been very we've seen a really tremendous increase in that average score over the last number of years. We're quite proud of the students who, even if they weren't expected to pass, they do mock exams early on, and maybe if they weren't expected to pass and then they do pass, even with a lower mark, we're just as proud of those students as well, and they go on to find success at universities as well. So we do offer these alternative pathways for students. We don't ask them to leave the school, and that's really at the heart of the inclusive nature of the school. It was when we had a high school of 11 students to now when we have over 1,100 in the middle school and high school.
Wow.
Which does make us, I think it's now the second biggest international school in Thailand. And so many of the same people that were here back then are still here now, including our head of school. So it's been kind of a singular thought and momentum in making sure that we include all students in different pathways, and really make it a personalized pathway for students who are going to go outside of the IB.
Fantastic. I have a question for Michelle Hu about primary at St. Andrews. What's the school's view on homework? What types of homework are given and how much? And how does the school support students who could be more academically advanced as compared to their peers?
Yeah, homework is always a touchy subject. We have 10 parents sat in a room and everyone has a very different view on homework. And oftentimes it comes from our own experiences. Certainly as a school, we want children at the primary school to experience everything that is available to them inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Our ECA program is incredibly broad. Children who are 7, 8, 9 years old, they have over 20 different options every day after school. On Saturday and Sunday, they have options. We want them to take advantage of these opportunities, because this is where they're going to find their passions. With my children, when we first came here and they were around this age, taking some of these ECAs and really allowed them to find the things that are interesting to them, and then later when they get to the IGCSE and the IB, they'll have some understanding of what it is that actually drives them, because they would have had a chance to try those things, in addition to all the other benefits of being part of a sports program and making friends around a specific activity rather than other criteria. I think there are a lot of benefits to that. And so if a child at a very young age is asked to do 3-4 hours of homework a night, it's going to interrupt and not really give them the opportunity to take part in the full offering that we have here at St. Andrews. So we do ask children certainly to do reading every night. They do a minimum 30 minutes of reading, and that can include reading to themselves, reading to their parents, and maybe at a younger age, the parents reading to them. And there will be homework assigned to children. Oftentimes it's something that they learn those time management skills that they'll need when they get into the high school. So they might be giving an assignment on a Wednesday, but it's due on a Monday. Allows them to start thinking about their schedule and okay, when they can work on this, when maybe they can finish it up on another day and be ready for the due date. And in the cases where a family feels like they need more homework, and some parents have the view that they'd like their children to spend more time at home working on some of the work that they've been completing in the class. Oftentimes teachers will then assign optional homework, and it just goes into a deeper level of exercises they might be asked to do in that specific competency area.
Cool.
Yeah, and then the students who are really finding their way, because we have larger year groups, and you might have a 7th form in Key Stage 2, which is year 3 to year 6. It might be 140, 150 students. You're going to have students who find themselves very strong in some areas, and then they have a rather large cohort of other students who are also strong in that area. So oftentimes they get to explore those subjects, or if they have a real interest in. Also, is part of the ECA program, which isn't just sports and art and music, but actually can be more academically based. If they really have an interest in science, they have different science ECAs available to them every day. Obviously the teachers structure lessons in a way where students of different abilities have different access points into that lesson, and might have different expected outcomes from those lessons as well. So it takes a great deal of talent from the teachers to be able to structure lessons in this way. I think being a part of Nord Anglia, we really get some fantastic applications every year, and new teachers coming in who have tremendous experience in this area, where they can structure lessons in a way where the students of the who are really doing very well academically, they can access lessons maybe in a slightly different way than the students who are maybe seeing some of the subject material for the first time, especially if they're coming from another school. So there has to be that flexibility within the classroom setting.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Katia Rosilio, or Rosello, asks, what learning support does St. Andrews offer students who are struggling in secondary school? So what kind of support structures are in place there?
So thanks for that question. I think that goes to the heart of St. Andrews as well, which is the fact that we are an inclusive school allows us. We have built out a high needs program in both primary school and secondary school, which supports students who have much broader needs, and we have a parallel curriculum to the mainstream. We ask the students then to join in with the mainstream whenever it's appropriate. And it has allowed us then to hire specialists to support students in the program. But then oftentimes these specialists, meaning our therapists, our learning support teams, they end up being available then to help students who are within the mainstream, but maybe struggling in a particular area. It may be something specific to a subject. It may be something that is a little bit broader than that. Maybe they have reading challenges, and we have dyslexia specialists that work with students who have different reading challenges, for example, and different therapists who use play therapy, art therapy, other occupational therapy within the school that can help support students if they are struggling in any area. And because we really do make it a point to be very diverse in the students that we bring into the school, we want to make sure that students who do have some of these challenges are represented in the school as well. It allows us to keep the program going, and obviously it allows families who might have mixed ability children to, rather than put their children in different schools around Bangkok, come to one school and know that their students will be looked after and challenged in ways that are appropriate to their level.
Excellent. Last question for you, Mr. Bartek. Oh, maybe not. Nanny just came on. So Terry Helene asks, in elementary, are students working on iPads or other devices, tablets? And how do, I think the question is focused on, how do you balance learning through a device rather than, learning through other mediums, I guess?
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of parents, this question resonates with them. It's been a real challenge because we spent the last 5 years telling our children, as these devices are obviously in everyone's home, stay off your devices. And then of course virtual school came around, and all the parents come get on your devices. So I think the children's heads are spinning, trying to understand exactly what the parents are asking of them. It's nice since we've had a chance to return to school. Obviously, that is the preferred. Nothing replaces in-person education. That's very clear. But that's not to say that technology doesn't have a place within the classroom. And so it's very closely decided which lessons could benefit from introducing iPads into the classroom, because there's certain elements, for example, within the maths curriculum, and when they're doing, they've learned something specific within the maths curriculum, and then they're asked to do to practice those concepts that they've learned. Doing a worksheet may not be as exciting as doing it within a game structure on an iPad with their friends. That may be an opportunity then to introduce iPads into the classroom. So what we do, we have iPads that when the teachers within that year group determine that a lesson can be will benefit from introducing those iPads, we'll roll those in. The students will use those, and then we'll take them back out. So it wouldn't be used to replace all the benefits of the in-person learning, but whenever there's an opportunity for technology to enhance that experience and make it more engaging for students, the teachers will decide whether that's a good opportunity to use it, and then they review it. It's, we have a very strong structure here in the school where they can they work together and look at each lesson and see where they should introduce that technology, and then they work together with the schools from around all the other Nord Anglia schools around the world. It's just a question that we all face, and I think that they, through their collaboration with the other schools, I think they get it right.
Fantastic. Final question for you before I move on to your formal presentation in the video. But Nanny asks, what is the percentage of foreign nationals in the primary school?
Yeah, so across the school, we're about 50% Thai families and 50% non-Thai. Out of that non-Thai group, I think the biggest group is British. The other, within that same group are American and Indian, French, Korean, Japanese, German. Those are our biggest groups. But we have 60 nationalities in the school. It really has very much an international feel. We know that even all the way up through our IB program, we had 19 our students who accepted offers at 19 different countries from let's see, 300. I've written down here 350 offers from 119 universities. So very much an internationally focused student body, and coming from all over the world. It's a really nice mix of students, and where you'll find in the primary school at the youngest year groups within foundation stage, there's slightly more Thai families that are ready to bring their children into school, and normally we see that balance out when they get to be a little bit older in foundation stage 3 or year 1. We start seeing it leveling off to around 50-50. We don't manage it. We're quite happy to have. We love our Thai families. We love our international families, and so it's not some sort of strict quota. We're happy to have families from all over the world, but it is really nice to have a mix of families within the school as well. I think it adds something to the school environment.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today, Mr. Bartek. I really appreciate you talking to us about St. Andrews International School in Bangkok. We're going to now go move into your formal presentation, but anybody who has questions, they can either continue to put them in the chat here during the live session, or obviously reach out to you as the Director of Admissions.
Thanks very much. I appreciate the chance to speak today.
Thank you. And with that said, I will now share the formal presentation. I found the correct one. I apologize to our colleagues over there.
The International Baccalaureate Diploma was an easy choice for St Andrews when we were deciding what our pre-university qualification should be. It offers such a diversity in the program students can follow that really allows every student the chance to find something that's exactly right for them as an individual.
I wasn't sure where I wanted to go after school, so I felt like IB was a better choice and course to do because it was more broad.
I am someone who likes studying a lot of things. I don't like just studying one particular subject. IB offers you to do extended essays, IAs, TOK, which is a completely new subject for me. So these things I thought would be very beneficial when I go to university.
I do believe that when it comes to school, it's not just about academics and studying and making sure you get all those grades, but it's also about caring for yourself and your community. So I really enjoyed the idea that IB offers that.
Learning an IB subject is a student-led process that's about much more than just acquiring knowledge. Students explore each subject using communication, collaboration, research and thinking skills, with the support of their teachers to direct and guide the way.
To be a good learner, you should have the ability to question everything you study. Knowing how you learn something can help you change the way you learn something.
It's a very diverse course because you have to take language, arts, science, and maths. And with that, even if the career path you choose will use only one of those areas, you still have knowledge of the other areas as well.
It gives you the option to choose subjects and subject choices and topics that you are more passionate about. Sometimes it doesn't feel like work because you're just enjoying it and it's almost like a hobby.
Structured in a way where it makes students independent. You set goals with your coordinator for yourself. When you meet them, you target your goals even higher. And throughout the year, you get a feeling of achievement and success.
We encourage students to be the best they can be. And we know that for some students, that means getting the top grades. And for other students, it might just mean passing in a qualification or even just attending well and doing their best.
Something that I really enjoy is getting feedback from teachers. It's good to know where you're going wrong, where you're going right, and just for reassurance and knowing that you're on the right track.
If I keep thinking about work, I lose the opportunity to creatively think. So I'd make sure that I try to get rid of as much work as I can right at the start and leave a couple hours in a day just to relax and think about things I enjoy.
They don't just focus on our academics, but when they see some of us stressed, they'll ask, hey, are you okay? The fact that someone just is concerned for you is already like, wow, I think I can do this. It's motivation.
All of our students benefit from the supportive environment we offer at St Andrews, and the IB Diploma complements this perfectly by providing our graduates with an internationally recognised qualification that's highly regarded by universities.
It will probably be the hardest thing that you've done up to now, but I believe that by the end of it, you'll learn so much from it and be more sure about what you want to do in life.
The whole school is behind me. And with that motivation and determination, I can really just get out there and do what I can, do my best and like give 100%.
Bring right onto the stage here, Mr. Will Taylor. Hello, Will. How are you today?
Hi, very well, very well. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. You are the Deputy Head of Senior Studies and IB Diploma, the IB Diploma Coordinator at St. Andrews International School Bangkok. And you're here to talk about the IB Diploma. Is that correct?
That's right, yes.
Is there how would you like to start this off? You know, our last special speaker had some slides. Did you have anything prepared originally, or is this just sort of you're gonna go for it?
No slides. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a rundown on the IB Diploma. I know some of the people watching will be familiar with what that is, some not so. So we're going to focus a little bit on why, as a school, we think that the IB Diploma is the best way to prepare students for university and anything that comes beyond that.
Well, that's great. You know, I admit, you know, I have 3 children, as I've mentioned a couple times in this presentation. I want to remind everybody as well, we are live. So if you do have any questions for Mr. William Taylor here or any of our speakers, please throw them in the chat. You can do it in Facebook. You can do it on YouTube. We do see them and we'll be happy to answer your questions. And right now we're going to focus on the International Baccalaureate program or the IB program, which I didn't know a whole lot about until my kids got into it. So what are the most critical things for somebody who isn't familiar with the IB program? What are the most critical features of it or pieces or why you might choose the IB program?
I mean, the IB program is a full program of education from primary years all the way through to pre-university level. Obviously today, your focus is schools which are British-based, and we're a school that has a British-based curriculum, and we that leads up to IGCSEs at 16. For us, like many other British-based curriculum schools in Bangkok, we've just chosen the IB for our final 2 years. of our high school, and that's the IB diploma program. So we think that really complements the British-based curriculum that we've got in the rest of the school. The diploma program, which is what I'm talking about now, it's a 2-year program. As I said, students would follow that just in the final 2 years before they complete high school. It's similar to A levels in that sense. Students will gain their IB diploma results, which will get them into universities all around the world.
Do you think is there a difference in the credential from an A level to a IB to an American diploma to, you know, are they seen as equivalent? Does one kind of have a little gold stamp on it, a little standard, or, you know, I mean, sort of a realistic conversation for parents out there? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, there's certainly an equivalence in the sense that they're all sort of pre-university qualifications, and universities will look at all of them and take students seriously if they've taken those qualifications. We do definitely think there's a significant enough difference for us to choose the IB diploma over the alternatives. I think really one of the things that sets the IB diploma apart from A levels, which I suppose many of the other schools presenting today will have chosen, is that the diploma is a full package. So for a student to complete the diploma, they'll have chosen 6 subjects and chosen a few of those, 3 of those usually, to study at a higher level of depth. That's normally more than A levels. And because the students are chosen from a number of different subject groups, it means that an IB diploma graduate has, by the nature of the diploma and the selection process, studied a fairly broad curriculum of the 6 subjects from at least 4 subject groups, but still been able to focus 3 of them at higher levels so that they've got the same level of depth of study that a student may have done from A levels. So as a package, if a university knows that a student's completed the diploma, they know a little bit already about the type of breadth and depth that they'd have studied, whereas if you're just choosing individual A levels, you might have ended up with a broad area of study, or you might have ended up with a really narrow area of study, which maybe doesn't get to show that an A level graduate has got the same range of skills and capabilities. Additionally, with the IB diploma, there's what we call the core, which are some components that all students engage in and complete over 2 years, in addition to their 6 subjects. One of those elements is CAS, which is essentially being involved in extracurricular experiences, which are balanced between creativity, sports, and service, so charitable work. We know when students start applying to university that being able to show that you're well balanced, that you've got many interests, that you're actually taking the learning from the classroom and maybe applying that learning in other areas is something which makes a really good application. We also know it makes a really good young person and a really good healthy and engaged student. So they're actually requirements of the diploma, and not just taking part in them, but actually having initiated and planned some of those experiences and reflected on the learning and ensured that the way that they're participating in those experiences is challenging to them and is being pushed forward. So again, part of the diploma really is a package that those students get.
So thank you very much for that. That was an extremely complete answer. I really appreciate it. We have a question in the chat from Palit Santanakit. And the question is, I think we may have to play with this a little bit, but the question is, how different is it between starting the International Baccalaureate in primary or starting it in secondary? I think that's what the question is trying to get at. Can I, could I come from another school, or could I matriculate into St. Andrews in those last 2 years and do the diploma and make it? Or do I need to be in the program from primary, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. As many of you will know, and I said at the start there's quite a few schools who have their British-based curriculum for students up to 16, and then just have the IB diploma program for the final 2 years, where it really stands sort of head and shoulders above the other qualifications that are available. It's absolutely possible for students to join a school such as ours at the start of the diploma program. The diploma program, it's the International Baccalaureate Diploma program. It's been set up by the International Baccalaureate Organization to help support students internationally who very often are moving around different countries. So it's designed itself for students to be able to enter at different stages and at different phases. One of the things that allows that to be possible is that in most of the subjects, if you're entering a subject that you've not previously studied, there's always the possibility to catch up and to learning that subject. Probably one of the things that might be slightly more difficult to start off with is understanding or getting used to some of the approaches to teaching and learning that might be used in an IB school. Now, the IB don't own good teaching and learning at all, and many schools around Bangkok and around the world that aren't IB schools would still be using the same type of teaching and learning strategies. But one of the things that makes the IB different is that it's not just a set of exams, it's not just a syllabus that students need to understand to complete. It's also a full education, and so it's a way of teaching for teachers, and it's a way of learning for students. So students in an IB school would be hopefully quite used to being at the center of their learning. Teaching should be inquiry led, which means less of the teacher just being the font of all knowledge and sharing what they think or know about the subject matter to students, and much more activities based around students investigating or discovering an area, and then their questions driving things forward, with a teacher helping to facilitate that and really keeping things moving. Although we're only IB in our final 2 years, of course, we know that's good teaching and learning. So we use that style all the way through. Many schools will. The only challenge that some students might face is if they're coming from a school which is quite used to a teacher just standing at the front and telling students what to know and what to think, then it might take a little bit of getting used to when they come into an IB education, and suddenly it's a lot more about what they think, and it's about what their opinion on the facts are, and it's about how they think an idea should be developed, and also all of the extra sort of focuses on students being able to communicate and collaborate and maybe independently research, which they might be less used to in some other programs.
Fantastic. Our final question for you, because amazing how fast the time goes here. It comes from Eva Cohen, and she's asking, does the British curriculum prepare one to enter the IB program as well as the full IB program? And you partially answered that, but many of the people who are on listening today are either in a British program or they're thinking about transitioning, etc. So how does the British curriculum prepare you for IB?
Yeah, and it prepares students perfectly well for IB. I mean, the British curriculum is mainly based around content and syllabus content. So really, if you've studied in any British-based curriculum school, there'll be a certain level of understanding and skills that will have been developed, and those would match perfectly with the kind of entry points for the IB diploma. And as I've said, we obviously follow a British-based curriculum up to 16, and our students then seamlessly move into the IB diploma. And really, any school that's run a British-based curriculum and has taught their students well and helped to develop learning skills in their students, those students would also be able to move seamlessly into our diploma program.
Well, I lied to you. I'm going to give you one more question here from Sasha. Her name is Sasha Hack. What are some of the challenges faced by students transitioning in year 13 in the IB diploma from another international school in Bangkok? Are there college counselors? Do they liaise between the schools? Like, what kind of support is offered to the student?
So that would be so year 13, as in coming into the second year of the diploma program. Well, to be perfectly honest, the biggest problem there would be what program you're transitioning from. So as I've said before, the IB diploma program isn't just a set of exams that students take at the end of 2 years. It's an education and it's an experience. So if a student becomes an IB diploma graduate, it doesn't just mean that they got the grades on the exams. It means that they sat through 2 years of an IB education, and the teaching and the learning experiences that they'll have engaged in will have helped to develop their communication, collaboration, inquiry skills. Some of those things aren't examined at the end. So actually the students need to have sat through 2 years of that in an accredited IB school to become an IB diploma graduate. So the only way somebody could transition into year 13 is if they were transferring from having completed the first year in an IB diploma school. So they couldn't switch from, let's say, an A-level program into the final year of IB. Similarly, they couldn't just accelerate a year and do the final year by themselves. If they were transferring, the biggest challenge would be to find a school that offers the same subjects that they've been studying. St Andrews, as one of the largest schools in Bangkok, we offer a significant range of subjects, 35 IB diploma subjects to choose from, most of those at both higher level and standard level, which I think is one of the broadest offerings in Bangkok. So if you find a school that offers a subject, that's the biggest hurdle taken care of. St Andrews, we do have a team of university and careers counsellors to help students with all those decisions. Our counsellors are, again, as a big school, we've got full-time counsellors there to work with the students, so they're not teacher one day, counsellor the next. So hopefully we'd be able to support a student in that situation if they had very good grounds for needing to transfer at the start of year 13.
Fantastic. Mr. William Taylor, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about the ID diploma program. I wish you all the best, and please do, if you would mind, check out in the chat. We may have some more questions for you coming along here as well, but if not, we will definitely be sending them to you from BKK Kids. Thank you so much.
Will do. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So I'm going to just say this one more time, that the St. Andrews International School Bangkok is pleased to offer a special promotion to everybody who's watching the virtual school summit here for 2022 and here at BKK Kids, that they are waiving their application enrollment fees for the academic year 2021 and 2022. So if you're watching this now live, or if you are watching it on the recording, please feel free to reach out to them and mention that you saw this promotion, and they'll be happy to accommodate you.